Hello fellas! In this tutorial, let's create a responsive single web page using HTML, CSS and a little bit of JavaScript with jQuery. We're gonna create changing background, responsive navigation menu, pictures carousel, flexible elements and much more. I will try to explain as much as possible and at the same time not to make this tutorial 2 hours long. So let's dive in. For code writing, I'm gonna use Visual Studio Code, which of course is free to download and use. You can choose any other IDE that suits you. It's up to you. So let's create index.html file, index.html, and if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can insert exclamation mark and press tab. Now we get the default HTML layout. What we're gonna do first, we're gonna create the top navbar with some context in the middle here, but without changing any background images. We're gonna do it later. Let's hide the Explorer and let's use the show preview functionality just to see what we are creating here on the left side. So let's wrap the whole page in the div element with the ID main container, and which will have another element div with the header container ID, and that header container will have header element and section element. Section element will be that part in the middle, that text in the middle, if you remember. Header will have the div element with ID nav container, and inside we'll have a element with ID, let's give it logo, and href for now to nowhere, and let's write anything you want. I will write code quizzes. Let's save it and we see the code quizzes here. Now we need nav element navigation, which will have unordered list with a list elements. First one will be a href. Let's make to nowhere now, and let's write home. Here we go, we have one element. Let's copy paste and change the titles. Service says we need about us, and what else we need? Our clients, and the last one, contact us. Oh great, I have a mistype here, container, so please fix it as well. Let's move on to the section. Section will have the ID of top content, yes, and it will have div element with the class top content text. Let's make h1 element. Let's write buy and sell real estate properties. Let's insert break here and let's insert p element. You never know what you will buy, and will your house withstand the earthquake? Some funny stuff here. Let's give d of nav menu. Now let's go on and put some styling to these elements. Let's create styles CSS file. So styles CSS, and we're gonna need some fancy fonts for our text, so I'm gonna import this one from Google APIs. I'm gonna leave this link in the descriptions as well. Since we're gonna use only one styles file, it's a good practice to style elements in groups, and we're gonna do that. So let's begin with the global elements. And if we write like start global, let's select everything, and for everything let's give the outline of none. So for all the elements. For body, let's give font family, which will be Roboto, then that Helvetica and sans serif. What else? Margin, let's make it auto. Padding, it will be 0. Then font size will be 1 rem. Font weight, let's make it 400. And color, let's make actually the variables for the colors. So how to do that in CSS? We just write colon root curly braces, and then let's create a variable which will be a darker white. Okay, and let's give it the RGB of what? Of 181. So for color we choose variable, and like this, minus darker white, and that's it. Let's save it. Let's insert overflow and let's make it hidden. Just select hidden. Height, let's make it 100 each. For line height, let's make 1.7 rem. Now in index.html file, let's create the link to that style sheet. We need a link. Style sheet already, okay. href styles css, and let's save it. And here we go. We see the styles that we implemented for some elements. For main container, let's give it the height of 100 each. Overflow y will be scroll. Now let's give the element nav container, well, the element which has ID nav container, the class container, and let's style that container class like this. Let's give it max width of 1040 pixels, margin let's give 0 and auto. Margin 0 auto will help us to center objects in the element which has container class, and padding of 0 and 20 pixels as well. Now let's get back to that nav container element and let's add one more class. It will be flex, which will help us to inline two elements, a and nav. So let's give this class some styling, which will be display flex, and it will help us to inline those elements. Then justify content, let's choose space between, just the way we want to style the elements, and flex wrap, which will help us to wrap elements if they do not get enough space. Now let's style some other global elements. So we're gonna have h1, h2, h3, and h4 as well with h5. They will have margin 0 and padding was 0 as well. h1 element and h2 element will have font family of Playfair display, and if the search engine doesn't have it, serif will be there. Font weight will be 800. h1 element will have font size of 3 rems and line height of 1.2. Let's make as well margin bottom of 1 rem. Great. We have as well p element, and it will have margin 0, 0, 1 rem. So we can end global element styling here. So let's write end global, and let's start styling header. So start header. Now let's style the element with the ID of header container. So we can copy the ID, hashtag header container. It will have min height of 600 pixels. Then it will have the height itself of 100 VH, and position will be relative. Then we have header element itself here. So let's style this one as well. Header position will be fixed because we need it to be fixed. Padding will be 0.5 rem here, and 0 left and right sides. Then background, let's make background transparent. Border bottom will be 1 pixel solid. RGBA 255, and opacity of 0.1. Then let's insert the width. Okay, it will be calculated, and it will be 100% minus 17 pixels. Here Here you go. Let's see. Yep. Great. And height of what? 50 pixels. We need z index. Index not inherit, but 3. And let's make transition 0.2 seconds. Now let's style the element with the logo ID. Let's copy this one, paste it here. So logo will have font family, which will be the same robo. We have it somewhere there. Yeah, here, Roboto. So font family Roboto. Font size will be 1.7 rem. Font weight, let's make it what? 800 at least, yeah? Color, let's make it white. Text decoration, none. Maybe later let's make it white. Now I will comment the line just to see what's happening with this logo. Position will be relative. Now when we hover, let's add a hover effect. It will shadow the text. So text shadow 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 2 pixels, and it will be white as well. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little shadow out there. Next we have nav container. We should actually put it above it, since we have logo inside the nav container. So I'm gonna style it right above the logo itself. So nav container, which will align items center, and height will be of course 100%. Then we have what? We have nav menu, which is below logo. So nav menu will list style type be none. Then user select as well, none. You cannot select this one. Then let's make margin 0 and padding 0 as well. So P0 and press tab if you are using Visual Studio. Let's style nav menu list items. So display, it will be inline block. And let's make margin 0 and 15 pixels to have some spaces between those elements. Now let's style A. So this one, each of those elements, and let's color it. Let's put the color of white again. Font size will be 16 pixels, and text decoration will be none. Great. Oh, okay, we don't see it now, but later we're gonna comment those lines. Let's style 2 more things about these nav menu A element. So it will be hover, and it will be active. Dot active. So when those two happen, what we're gonna do? We're gonna color it white. Then we're gonna text shadow it 0, 2 pixels and as well white. And we're gonna give it font weight of 700. So we can end this styling of header. That's right. And header, and let's keep moving forward. Now let's style this section with ID top content. So as previous, let's write a start top content, and let's give that top content some stuff. It will be position, which will be absolute, top will be 0, left will be 0, z index will be 1, height of 100%, width will be 100%, and let's give it transition of 2 seconds. Now let's create a folder which we're gonna call images, and here I will just drag and drop one picture. Let's say house 5, and it looks like this one. Now in styles file, let's right background, which will take URL. We'll go to the images. Let's select the house 5 file as well. Let's write no repeat to that background. Oh, looks great. Now as I can see, I can uncomment those colors for list element and logo. Yeah, you can see it clearly. Let's give the background size of cover and see what happens. Now it looks much better actually. And let's copy paste this one and let's style other element, which is top content text. So the class top content text will have the position of absolute as well. Top will be 40%. You see, it's already in the middle. Then margin will be minus 75 pixels, auto, and 0. Great, it's a little bit up now. Then left will be 0. Right will be 0 as well. Then give it a Z index of 2, just to be on top of the... Where is it? Oh, here. This one. And color white. Oh, great. Now I see it much more clearer. Max width will be 500 pixels. Text align will be center. Look how great it looks. And the transition, let's make it as well. Let's give it 0.5 seconds. Let's style one more thing. So let's copy paste this one. Okay, and that element is B, which we have here. And let's give it line height of 1.5 rem. Then let's give the font weight of 300 and font size of 1 rem. Good. Now in the index file, let's create one element above the top content text. So that element will have the class of top content fade. And what will it do? Do you agree that this picture is very bright for the words, for navigation? So we should create the element which would darken these background images. So how to do that? So we have the element top content fade and we go to this style. Let's copy paste this one, and instead of text let's write fade. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna give it position absolute, then width of 100%, height the same, then top will be 0, left as well 0, and most important part, background will be RGBA of 52, 58, 64, and the opacity of 0.7, and you see it's already dark. Let's insert the index as well, index, which will be 1. Great stuff. So we can finish styling top content elements, and let's write here and top content, and we can jump to the JavaScript, which will help to change images in this background. Now let's insert 4 more images in the image file. So I'm gonna drag and drop 4 more images, and now I have 5 of those. Now let's create script file where we're gonna write some JavaScript code using jQuery. When the page is loaded, we need to call a function. So let's write function. We're gonna create the variable, let's call it const section. So document get element by ID, and that ID is top content. Then we need to create images array. So const images. I use const since it won't change. So we're gonna have URL and images. The path is images house 1. Let's copy paste this time 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So house 2, house 3, as you see here, house 4 and house 5. Now we need a variable which will be image number. In the beginning it will be 0. Then we need a function which we should call top background image carousel, like this. Then in this function we need section style background image right there to be equal to images image number. So if we need images like image house 3, since this is array, so the element should be 0, 1, 2. Images 2 will be equal this one. Then every time this function is called, image number should increase by 1. And let's insert if statement. If we reach image number more or equal than 4, then let's set image number to 0 and start all over again. Now we need to call this function, so we need to call it with set interval function. Let's copy paste this one every, let's say now 2 seconds, just to see if it works. So since we are using JavaScript file, we need a link in the HTML file. So script, we have type text JavaScript, then source will be script.js, and defer to make it work. Since we are using jQuery, we need a script for the library as well. I'm gonna insert the script in the description below, so no worries for now if you cannot see clearly all the letters up there. Everything is working fine. Just let's the seconds from 2 to 5. So every 5 seconds function top bg carousel will be called. And here are some stuff that is going inside this function. Now let's move on and let's create the other section, which will be this one. Here you can rent property, buy a property, and invest. So let's go to the index file, and right before the last div closing tag, let's insert section with the services. And that section will have div element with the class container. Inside we're gonna have element h2, and let's write here you can. So right there. Also we're gonna have another div element with the class flex, and that element will have those 3 elements as well. In this flex element, let's insert div, and let's use span for the icon right there. Then we're gonna use h4, so text will be rent a property, and some text. I will just copy paste it from my other file, so you can find a lot of properties in this web page. So in the span we need the icon. We're gonna use font awesome icons, so we need a font awesome script. Let's insert it. Under the title, every font awesome icon will come from this link. So right there in this pan, let's use class, which will be OSFA home. And we see it right there, the small one. We're gonna style it later. I will reduce the indentation for the tabs just to see more code. Okay, here you go. And let's create 2 more elements. Here, 1 and 2. Let's save it. Okay. Now the icon here should be $, and the last one will be chart line. Let's see. Here we go. So now let's style those elements in the services. We have elements like H2, H4, so let's style those as well. So in style sheet, let's start services. But first of all, as I said, let's not forget H2 and H4 elements, which should be styled in the global area. So we have here H1, after that H2 element, so let's give it a font size of 2.5 rem. Let's color it, and let's create again the variable. We're gonna make it green, let's call it green, and let's give it a color hashtag 119739. For the color of the variable and the color green. See, oh, here you go. Next, let's give it margin bottom 1 rem and line high of 1.2. Great. Then we have H4 element. Let's give the font size of 1.2 rem and font weight of 300. Let's style other services elements. So right there at the bottom, missing column, let's insert it. So for services, let's add background. It will have color, but let's create the variable for the color in the root. Let's create another bright gray variable, and it will be hashtag AF8, F9, FA. Very nice bright gray color. Let's give it to the background. Var bright gray. Is it bright gray? Yes, it's not white, it's not gray, it's bright gray. Then padding of 3 rem and 0. Text line centered. Next, let's add services H2 element. Let's give margin bottom 3 rem. Yep. Next, we have services flex, and which has a child div element, and for that one, let's give width of 30%. Then let's give min width 250 pixels and padding of 0 and 10 pixels, and of course cursor will be pointer. And that's great. Let's see. Yeah, everything is in line. All the elements are in line because of this. When we hover over it, let's color it. So hover for the fast class elements. Transition, let's make it 0.2 seconds. Color. Again, let's create another variable, which we're gonna call bright green. Bright green, and it will be RGB 125, 187, and 33. Bright green. Let's give this one to the fast class elements, and it will be far bright green, and let's check it. Yep, it colors those icons. What we have else? We have services h4 element. We should give the color of var green, our green, margin, top, 1 rem. Okay, last one. Services, span, which has pass. Let's make it bigger and let's color it with the color of what? Let's make it our green, and the size, let's make it 35 pixels. Let's check it. Everything works fine. I hope that it works for you as well. Now let's fix one part regarding services elements. When the screen is smaller, as you can see, the elements are not centered. So in the HTML file where the element has a class flex, let's insert one more class and call it centered. In the style sheet, globals part, after p element, let's style the centered class and give it justify content center. And let's see if it fixed. Yes, it fixed. Now, since we have some data for the web page, let's fix the navigation menu right there. So in the index file, let's insert the button in the navigation element. Button, and let's give the ID nav toggle. So the button also will have span, and let's give it a class strip. Let's copy paste it and let's style it. Let's go to the header section and under the nav container, let's insert nav toggle. Let's give it a background color transparent, then border 1 pixel solid, white. Let's give it a padding of 3 pixels and 5 pixels, width 30 pixels. What we need as well cursor pointer. Let's make margin top 10 pixels and border radius of 5 pixels. Let's write also display none, but let's comment it just to see what we are doing next. Okay, so let's comment it. Now nav toggle strip. Let's display block, height will be 1 pixel, then margin of 4 pixels and 0, and as well background color will be white. And when we hover this element, okay, let's make it here, hover, oopsie daisy, here we go. Let's give the opacity for the color, so 0, 0, 0, 45. Let's not forget RGBA. So let's check it. Great. Now let's make this page more responsive. So let's go back to the end of the CSS style sheet and let's write medium max width. When it's 750 pixels, what we're gonna do? We gonna, for nav toggle button, display block. So we can uncomment nav toggle where we commented it. It is right here. So let's uncomment it so we don't see it now, but we see when the screen size is 750 pixels width. So let's go back to the end of the sheet, and for navigation menu, let's position it and make it fixed. Then background color, let's change it to white. Let's see what is happening. Yep, it's okay, don't worry about that. Let's make right 0, then top as well 0, margin will be 0 as well, padding will be 2 pixels. We need a height of 100%, width of 300 pixels, and we need box sizing, border box with box shadow just to make it nicer. 5 pixels, 0, 10 pixels, 3 pixels, and 99. Great. Now navigation menu, list element, nav menu, display will be block, then margin, let's give it 20 pixels and 0. Then navigation menu, let's copy this one, first child, and for the first child what we're gonna do, we're gonna margin top, make it 50 pixels. So let's style link elements. So we have now menu a, and let's give the font size of 20 pixels and color will be 212529. Okay, when we hover it, let's style as well. We're gonna give the color of black. Let's see. Great. Let's adjust nav menu padding to not 2 pixels but 2 rem. Much better. Let's insert close button up right there in the right corner. So in the index file we're gonna need one more li element. So li. Let's give it ID. It will be close layout, and inside of it we have span, which will have a class pass fa times. We see it right there. So let's style it in the style sheet under the nav menu li. Let's insert close layout, and it will have a position of absolute. Right will be 2 rem, then top will be 1.5 rem. Font size, let's make it 30 pixels. Color 777. Cursor pointer, also we need display, block, line height of 1, and of course margin. Let's make it 0. Great, but now we always see the button, so we just need to copy this one right there. Under the nav container, let's display none. Great. Now let's add some functionality to those two buttons, close button and the toggle button. But first of all, let's go to the nav menu, element styling, and let's make right -100%. Now menu is hidden and placed on the right. Let's go to the script file. In the script file, I commented out the image carousel function just for the background not to change. Let's create a variable for a nav menu. So const nav menu, which will refer to nav menu element. And for nav toggle button, let's create a function. So when this button is clicked, nav toggle on click, and here is a function which will do what? Which will give for nav menu element right will be 0. So let's check it. Great. Let's do the same for close layout button for this one. So let's copy paste this function and nav, let's change to close layout on click, nav menu CSS right will be what? Will be -100%. Let's check it. Sorry, there is a mistype there. So let's check it again. It works. Now let's implement the functionality to close the menu bar wherever we click. So let's write $, document on click as well. let's call a function which will do what? For nav menu CSS, right will be what? Minus 100%. So let's check it. But we cannot open it. Why? Because we wrote that if you click anywhere in the web page, you add the nav menu style right minus 100. So it doesn't show up. How to fix it? Let's give the function element. So let's call it E. Let's create a variable named target and $, it will be E target. And let's check if our target closest element with ID nav toggle, it means that button, has length more than 0, then do nothing. It means return false. Let's check it. And you see, now it works. Now let's add some auto styling for the header element, including the logo right there. So let's create a new variable. Let's name it const header $, and header. Now, after, let's say here, $, while we scroll the main container, so that our whole page scroll, there will be a function called, which inside of it will have a variable scroll top, which will be main container itself, with the function scroll top. Then let's check if our scroll top will be greater than 0. Then our header element's background color will change, so RGBA, it should be 180, 180, 80, and 0.9 opacity. Else, header element CSS background will be transparent. And for this function to work, we need to add one more line of code. So here, let's write $, main container, trigger, scroll. So it will trigger the scroll function. So let's see. Yep, right there. We already changing the background color of the navbar menu. Let's add more styling to that header element. So here, header element, CSS. If scroll top will be more or equal to 200, then question mark will do what? We gonna add padding, which will be 0.1 rem and 0, and as well box shadow will be 0, -2 pixels, 10 pixels, 1 pixel, and color 99. The same stuff, let's copy paste it right there. Let's make it 0.8 rem. Box shadow will be none. And let's check it. You see how it changes? Let's move on and let's create another section called About the Company. Open HTML file, and after Services section, let's collapse it. Let's insert another section with a D About Company. And in that section we're gonna have div with the class flex and class container. Then in that div we're gonna have image, then another div element, and in that element we're gonna have h2. This is the best real estate company. Then let's have a paragraph. Let's save it. Okay, right there. Let's have a paragraph. Let's give it a class. It will be large paragraph. And I will copy paste some text from outside, which says, if clients are happy, we are happy. Then again, let's have another paragraph. I'm gonna copy paste as well some other text for you to see. Gonna press enter here. Okay, we don't need this one. Okay, let's save it, let's check it. Great. And let's have unordered list. Right there. It will have the elements. So we're gonna have what? We're gonna have fast working team. Let's go paste some lines. The best negotiators. Then here let's write perfect and helping to sell or buy and trustworthy. And let's have a button at the bottom which will have class of rounded and ID of company model button. Read more. Now let's check it. Let's now style these elements. First of all, let's upload the image of house top right there in our images file. Great. Let's close it. Let's go to the styles sheet. So under the services styling, let's write actually and services, since we ended the styling of services right there. And let's start styling of about company. Let's end it right there, just not to forget again. And inside here, let's style our components. So we have about company. Let's give padding of 6 rem and 0. Great. Then we have about company flex, and we have that image. So that image will have width of 47%, then min width of 400 pixels, min height as well of 200 pixels. The background will be URL, our images folder, and house top image. Let's write as well no repeat, center, and fixed. Okay, let's check it. Already fine. Let's write some more parameters. So background size will be cover, and let's insert box shadow of 003 pixels, 3 pixels, and let's make it gray. Simple shadow. Let's make flex grow of 1 and margin bottom of 20 pixels. Let's check it. Oh, it looks great. Looks great. Next we have div element. So div, which will have width of 40%, then min width of 200 pixels, then flex grow will be 1. We save it, and margin left as well will be 30 pixels. So let's check it. Great, you see how responsive it is? It looks great. Let's style as well this unordered list. So about company, unordered list, padding left, let's make it 20 pixels. Yeah, great. As well elements, list elements, I should say. Let's give it margin of 10 pixels and 0. Also we have button, let's correct here, company model button, and let's style it. So company model button will have margin of 20 pixels. And if you remember, this button has a class rounded, so let's write the style of rounded. So in the styles file, global styling group, here right there after the centered, let's write button rounded, and let's give it background, and let's use our color of green. Then border, let's make it none. Color of the text will be white. Then font size, let's make it 1 rem. Border radius, let's make it 30 pixels. Padding will be 8 pixels and 25 pixels. Cursor pointer as well. What we need else? We need transition of, let's make it to 0.2 seconds. Then when we hover the button, let's make the background. Again, let's use our color, which was bright green. Let's save it and let's check it. So you see the styling of the button is much nicer and it works as well. Let's move on and let's create testimonial section. So first of all, let's upload 4 images of our imaginary customers. So right there, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in the index file, let's collapse this one. Let's create testimonials section. So section testimonials ID, and in that section we're gonna have div with the class container. And that div we're gonna have h2, which will say what our clients say. And then we're gonna have div with ID testimonials slider right there. For better view, let's comment our sections and header element. Okay, right there. So let's keep moving forward. We're gonna need as well another div element, which will have block quote, and in it we will have paragraph. I'm gonna copy paste some text again. Okay, where should I press enter? There, for you to see, like that. And let's make this one in the new line. Then we're gonna need div element with the class testimonials caption, which will have image, source will be our images, and client 1. And let's give him a name, Rick, then Rick. Let's copy paste this div element. So 1, 2, 3. We have 4 of those, and let's change here the images. So client 2, here client 3, client 4. You can change the names if you want. I'm gonna do that just to see the changes. Ellie McBilly, Timothy Garshweiss, and Vanera Diesel. Here, let's change the texts as well. Here will be this one and the last one. You can write in those paragraphs whatever you want. So we have 4 old vintage style photos of our customers, and let's fix the styling. So let's go to the styles file, and after what? After about company, let's start testimonials, and let's send it straight away, just not to forget. And in the middle, let's style testimonials and give it padding of 6 rem and 0, and the background of already created color bright gray. Perfect. Then we're gonna need as well testimonials h2 will have text align center. Then let's copy paste testimonials. Let's write slider as well, block quote, and font size will be 1.5 rem. Then font style, let's make it italic. Margin will be 1 rem, then auto, then 3 rem. Great, and max width of 740 pixels. Let's style another one. So copy paste this one, testimonial slider, testimonials caption, width of 200 pixels, and margin 0 and auto. Great. Now testimonials caption image. Let's make the float, which will be left, border radius, which will be 50%, width will be 90 pixels, height as well. What else do we need? We need margin. Let's make it 10 pixels. Then we have caption, testimonials caption, paragraph. Let's make the position of a relative, and top will be 13 pixels, and font size will be 1.2 rem. Now for testimonials carousel, we're gonna use cdn.jsDeliver.net carousel, which will save us a lot of time. So what we need to do is have a link in the head section. So this, I will leave this link as well in the description below. And we need script, which will be this one. So cdn.jsDeliver.net. Let's save it. And now let's go to the script file. Let's copy paste as well testimonials slider ID. And in JavaScript file, we only need a couple of lines of code. So let's implement right after the header element variable. So $, and testimonial slider, which has slick and which has some parameters, which is infinite will be true, then slides to show will be 1, then slides to scroll, sorry, this is the uppercase T, slides to scroll will be 1 as well, and then we need previous arrow, which will be a href to nothing, then it will have class of slick arrow and slick preview. Let's close this a tag, let's write this sign and close a tag. Let's copy paste, comma. Now we need next arrow, which will have class next. Oh, here we go. Let's style those. So in styles file, after testimonials caption p element, let's write testimonials slider slick slide. It will have text align center. Then we need testimonials slider slick arrow, which will have text decoration of none, position of absolute, font size, let's make it 40 pixels, color kind of gray, top will be 50%, margin top will be minus 35 pixels, and the index will be 2. Now for the slider arrow next, let's make it right 0 and the index of 2 as well. So we have 2 arrows. We need to change the sign in the JavaScript file, so the sign will be greater than. Great! And it works, of course. Let's move forward and create contacts section. So let's collapse this one, section testimonials, and after that we're gonna have section with ID, contacts, and class container. And in that section we're gonna have h2 element, get in touch, and we'll have development with classes flex and centered. In that element we're gonna have development, which will have span with the class, let's say fas fa map marker alt. Great sign, very little sign. Then we need h4 address, maybe let's capitalize this one, address. Then h5 will be New York, and we need paragraph. It will be 123 Main Street. Let's create another element div with a span, which will have a class. It will be fas fa minus phone. H4, phone. Then H5, let's say administration. Next we need P element, let's say this for 6. Great, any number you like. Then H5 again, we will have definitions with the number. Let's copy paste this one, maybe change something like 777. Let's delete the row. And the last element with the span and class FAS. Oh, we need more, FA, envelope. And we need H4 element. Let's write email. Let's write as well H5 element, administration, and P element, I don't know, info code gvides.com. Great, so let's style those elements. It's gonna be very easy to style contacts since we can use styling of services. Right there where we wrote start services, we can add contacts. So in the end as well. And we need what? Let's do little changes here. So let's copy paste services. Let's give it this one because we need for the contacts as well the styling of padding and so on. Contacts here. Contacts itself will have a background of white. What else? We can have H2 for the contacts as well. So copy paste contacts here. Okay, this one as well. Div element. So comma contacts here. Do we need hover? Yeah, we need hover as well. So here copy paste contacts. H4 the same. So services, copy contacts, and this one as well, the last one, span, not the right enter, contacts, copy paste, and let's see. Yeah, what a great styling, and it's responsive. If you have any questions, please write them in the comments, and if you like this tutorial, please press like and subscribe buttons. So let's keep moving forward. In the index file we need to implement footer. In the footer we're gonna need a div element with the classes flex and container. And that's right. And after that div element we're gonna need small element with a element href to what? To header container. That's right. And let's write copyright, copy, what else? 2023, all rights reserved. As well we can write for any information, please contact page creator. And let's close the tag. Oh, it's already closed, of course. So that's it. Now in this div element we're gonna need as well div element with the class footer about, then another div element footer quick links, and after that div with the class footer subscribe. Now in the footer about element we need h5, not h1, h5 with the text about code gvides. Then we need a paragraph. I'm gonna copy paste from other source. You can write anything you want like that. Already a little bit styled. In footer quick links element we need h5 as well. Quick links, unordered list element with a href to header container. It will go up. So home. Let's copy paste this one. We need services. Then we need about us, contact us. Okay. Now let's fix this one. It will be services, I think, yeah, ID services, about company. We can copy paste it. About us, about company, and contact us is contacts. Great. Let's save it. Now let's insert some elements for the footer subscribe. So we need h5 subscribe to our newsletter. Then we're gonna need div with id subscribe container, and in that we're gonna need input type text, yes, then placeholder, which will be enter email, and we're gonna need button with a class, let's say right rounded, and let's write send. Next we're gonna need h5 element with the class follow us. Yeah, now it's okay. Follow us, let's write it there as well. And we need unordered elements, unordered list. So we element a element href to anywhere span with the class fab fa Facebook f, I think so. Yep, correct. Let's make it bigger here. We need two more. The other one will be LinkedIn right there, and the last one, let's say, will be GitHub. Great, now let's style everything. Let's go to the styles. Then after what? After testimonials, let's start footer, and let's send it straight away again, just to not forget. And in the middle of that, let's write footer. Background gonna be kind of gray, kind of dark gray. Then padding will be 3 rem and 0. Then footer flex padding bottom, let's give it 6 rem. In border bottom will be 1 pixel solid and 777, kind of gray. Then we need footer h5 will have color of, let's say, the same f777. Then margin bottom 1 rem and font weight of 300. Let's copy paste this one. h5 with the class follow us will have margin top of 1 rem. Next, footer about will have width of 47%, min width of 150 pixels, and flex grow will be 1. We need as well footer, the same footer about, which has a p element width of 50%. Then footer class footer quick links, for them width will be 16%. Let's make min width of 150 pixels, and flex grow as well will be 1. Okay, let's delete this one. Let's copy paste this one. Footer links, since it has ul ordered list, so list style type will be none, padding 0, margin 0. Then let's copy paste this one, which will have li elements, and let's make margin 10 pixels and 0. Let's copy paste this one. Now a elements with color RGB 182, 181, 181. Yes, kind of good. Then text decoration of none. And there is a mistype, of course, in a footer quick footer quick links, and there it is. Now the styles are on those links. So next, let's copy paste this one. When we hover, let's color it white. Let's see. Yeah, very nice. Then we have also footer subscribe. So we have width of 35%, min width will be 150 pixels as well, flag scroll will be 1 as previous ones. So great. Now we have subscribe container. Position will be relative. Great. Now let's style footer subscribe input. So border radius of 30 pixels, height of 43 pixels. Font family will be Roboto, Helvetica, yeah, this one, and sans serif, yeah. Border of 1 pixel solid and color 6C757D. Let's see, very nice. Background color will be transparent. Font size, let's make it 1 rem. Padding of 10 pixels. We need color of the text will be white. Box sizing will be border box. And width will be 90%. Cool. Now we have button. So let's write footer, button, right around it. Class, cursor will be pointer, position will be absolute. Then right will be 0, border none. Okay, so column, border top right radius will be 30 pixels. Now border bottom, not bottom, also right and also radius will be 30 pixels as well. Background, let's make our color, which was green. Font size will be 16 pixels. Color of the texts will be 000 or black. Padding, let's make 10 pixels, 30 pixels, 9 pixels, and that's it. Line height of 1.5. Great. Now let's copy paste this one and insert a hover styling. Hover, background white. Let's see. Nice. Next we have footer, subscribe, UL, list, style, type, let's make none, then padding 0, margin 0. Great. Well then, let's copy paste this one. It has all the elements, and let's display inline block, margin 0 and 16 pixels. Great, now we separated those in one line. Let's copy paste again and select first child, and for it let's give margin left of 0. Now let's copy paste this one, and a element now. Let's give text decoration none and color of RGB 177, 177, 177. Now hover effect and hover styling, hover color it white. Footer small, let's give margin top of 3 rem. Let's give font size of 1 rem. Then display will be block, text align center, and color will be 777. Great. Now let's copy paste. Footer small, it has a element, and let's color it as well, 777, and text decoration none. Let's give the hover effect style, hover, and let's color it, color white, and cursor, of course, pointer. FAB. Let's give it a font size of 24 pixels. Great, and that's it, guys. Let's uncomment all the commented code right there in the HTML file, and let's see how our web page looks like. And let's agree, it looks great. And the last thing we have to adjust is navigation menu links, so let's do that. So here in navigation menu, let's change hrefs. So home will link to header container, services will link to services, about us will link to about company, our clients will link to testimonials, and contact us to contacts. Let's save it. Now the scrolling works, but it is not smooth at all. So let's fix it in style sheet. So here, where it's main container, let's write scroll behavior smooth. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions, please write those in the comments below. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe. See ya!